Hi, I'm Pastor Kyle Thompson from South Park Church. Welcome to today's Fireside Chat. It's my joy to introduce today's speaker, the Reverend Pamela Blackstock, who serves as the senior pastor of Central United Methodist Church here in Charlotte. I've known Pam about as long as I've known Pastor Alexis, who we heard from earlier this week. We all served on this worship committee for the United Methodist Church together many years ago, and we bonded very well together, and we've stayed in touch. And it's just awesome having Pastor Pam back in the area together. And she's just full of life and wisdom and joy. And we're in for an awesome treat today. And so I just would encourage you, as we've done all week, to open our hearts and our minds to hear how God is going to speak through Pastor Pam today.
Hello, my name is Pamela Blackstock, and I pastor at Central United Methodist Church here in Charlotte. I want to thank Pastor Kyle for allowing me to just share some of my reflections as we ponder about the unjust killing of George Floyd, and also about the protests that are happening even now as I speak. Let me begin by saying I was very saddened and my heart was very heavy. This truly affected me in the depth and the core of my soul. I watched the video, and the sight of a human being taking another human being's life just really impacted me. The sight of a calloused, inhumane treatment of another, one of God's children, was truly heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. The killing of one who shares the same skin color as I. And this being the second video to surface in just a few weeks, showing a young African-American man being killed. This could have been my brother, my nephew, my cousins. As I reflect, I always talk to them about being very careful when driving down the road, and if by chance a policeman stops them, to be very well-mannered, to put their hands on the steering wheel, to be very kind and courteous, because the goal is to make it to the police station alive. And I constantly remind them that's the goal, to make it to the police station alive. And then we'll be able to handle whatever the circumstance was involved. I've often been reminded that as an African-American woman in our country, I've experienced many personal things that have been done. And a lot of times you just question the situation. Is it truly because I'm Black? Mm-hmm. But I know that all policemen are not tainted. They're not all bad. My church just recently celebrated the work of the policemen in our community on last March. So as this has continued, I've been very careful to measure my words as I talk about this to other people, other races of people that may not truly understand. I sent an email to my church family last week, and as I was writing that email, my brain just kept telling me, be careful with your words. Do not offend. I do understand that race relations conversations can be very difficult. And as a Christian, it's my desire that we would just be able to talk, not to have anger or opinions that really at the end of the day don't really matter. The whole goal is that we just learn to listen to one another. You may not truly understand why this has erupted into such a protest, I often wonder if it's just not years and centuries of anger that has just been unleashed. Anger at systemic systems or systems in place that have not been just to people of color, all people of color, all Black and brown people. Our schools tend to be less. The job opportunities are few. And even with COVID, because of the poor health system, we're even seeing cracks in our health care. I think this current situation is just a culmination of a long, brutal history that's been carried out on people of color in our country. I do not condone the violence. I do not condone the looting, the destroying of others' property, especially in the communities that are being destroyed. But I do understand the anger. I do understand the hurt. And as I even share with people in my church, if we could just truly understand, you don't have to agree with all that's happening, but if you could just have some measure of understanding. And thank you so much for listening to me. God bless you.